Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're plunging into a truly transformative work. I mean, one that takes an ancient myth and really flips it on its head.
Absolutely.
We're talking about Madeline Miller's, acclaimed novel, Circe.
Mm-hmm.
If you thought you knew the story of the infamous sorceress from the Odyssey, maybe get ready to have your perceptions, completely rewired.
Yeah, it's quite the experience.
So our mission today is to kind of uncover how Circe isn't just a simple retelling. Our research describes it as a full-scale rewiring of epic memory.
That's a powerful phrase.
It really is. It transforms this once minor, often villainized figure into a profound symbol of female agency, and maybe most powerfully, the terrifying, beautiful labor of becoming a self.
Right.
You're in for some profound insights, I think, because this story, as one commentator perfectly puts it, is suddenly shockingly alive.
And it's fascinating how this book has been received, isn't it? It moves beyond just being a simple feminist corrective, which some might expect.
Yeah.
What our sources reveal is a work framed as a hymn to female agency.
Oh,
That's
okay.
interesting. And also a Bildungsroman that happens to span 3 millennia.
Wow, 3 millennia for a coming-of-age story.
Exactly. And, quite unexpectedly, a love letter to the terrifying labor of becoming a self. It really does sort of peel back centuries of traditional interpretation, allowing these ancient gods to, bleed something recognizably human. They resonate with us in a very modern way.
That idea, God's bleeding something human, that immediately brings us to the voice Miller gives Circe.
Yes, the voice is key.
Diving into our sources, we found Circe narrates in the first person. Now, that choice could easily feel claustrophobic, couldn't it?
Right.
Within those vast, echoing marble halls of Greek myth.
It could, yeah, very easily.
Yet it's described as intimate, restless, ironic. It just pulls you right into her head, her world, makes her incredibly relatable despite, being immortal.
Absolutely. It closes that distance.
And here's where Miller's genius, I think, truly shines. She crafts Circe's syntax to actually age in real time.
Which is incredible.
It's not just her experiences that evolve, her very language does. In the opening, you can almost hear the breathy wonder of a child, right? Counting petals on a flower.
Mm-hmm.
But by the final third of the novel, her voice evolves into this laconic weariness of someone who has buried more lovers than Troy has bones.
Such a contrast.
An incredible journey woven right into the sentence structure itself. And that line, "I was born with the scream already in my mouth," it just perfectly encapsulates both prophecy and memory. It's like a birthing cry and a battle cry all at once.
It's a remarkable achievement, isn't it? This stylistic choice, it creates what some have called temporal vertigo, that sort of dizzying sense of time's immense scale.
Right, vertigo is a good word for it.
It allows you, the listener, to truly feel the drag of centuries in a single sentence, experiencing time in a way that perhaps only a god might. It's about an immortal throat finding a mortal cadence. It gives us this unique, deeply personal window into the psychological impact of eternity. I'm curious, what's your take on how she achieved that, making that huge timeline feel so palpable just through the voice?
Well, it's a testament to her mastery, really. She shows us time not just as like a line going forward, but as something felt internalized.
Lived.
Exactly. Moving from that powerful voice, let's look at who Circe was before she became the Circe.
Before the island, before Odysseus.
Right. Our exploration revealed that in her early life, Circe was depicted as the runt of an immortal litter, kind of harsh but descriptive. Someone who was neither beautiful enough to bait mortals nor powerful enough to command worship from her fellow gods. Her father, Helios. Well, he measured affection in lumens, literally how brightly someone shone.
Can you imagine? It's on brightness?
I know. While her mother, Perse, apparently hoarded cruelty like it was some kind of rare perfume. Talk about a tough upbringing.
Definitely sets the stage for dysfunction.
And her first act of rebellion is quite visceral, almost shocking. It's her scissoring the throat of a mortal fisherman who raped her.
A very stark moment.
Our analysis suggests this act is less about simple vengeance, though, and more like agriculture. She is planting fear in soil that has never known consequence. It's really a foundational moment for her, establishing a new kind of power born from self-preservation.
And what stands out there is how the source material reveals this divine dysfunction operating on geological time. Neglect doesn't just pass, it calcifies. Jealousy, it's sort of glaciers across centuries.
Wow, glaciers across centuries.
Yeah. So when we then see her later transformations turning sailors into swine, it isn't just some, whimsical flourish of magic.
Right, not just poof, you're a pig.
Exactly. It's described much more pointedly as defensive harvest, tusks instead of tongues, a forest of snouts that can't pronounce entitlement.
That reframes it completely.
It shows a character actively forging agency, not through brute divine force like her relatives might use, but through protection, self-preservation. It's a direct response to her own past and the casual cruelty she's seen and endured.
That's such an insightful way to frame the famous swine transformations. It really does recontextualize everything we thought we knew. And speaking of magic, forget the wand-waving and, sparkly incantations we might picture.
Yeah, not that kind of magic at all.
What struck me deeply about Circe's magic, according to our readings, is how it's portrayed as something far more grounded, gritty even, what one source calls radical botany.
Radical botany, I like that.
It's all about root and bark, sap and stone. You can almost smell the herbs and feel the earth under her fingernails.
Very tangible.
And the sheer labor involved in her magic is truly emphasized. We're talking berries crushed until knuckles purple, mortars ground until wrists click, incantations that are half song, half sob.
You feel the physical toll.
Absolutely. Each spell is described like a chemistry experiment conducted by someone who discovered the periodic table by tasting it. It's intensely physical, deeply personal, not some effortless divine gift she was just handed.
And if we zoom out a bit from that specific description, this portrayal really grounds magic, a very human, very visceral experience, despite her being a goddess.
Right.
The scene where Circe brews the potion that transforms Scylla into the six-headed monster, it's written with the intensity of a poisoning at a family dinner. Intimate, nauseating, irrevocable.
Oof, that's heavy.
It powerfully highlights that her power isn't just given or inherited like her father's light. It's wrested from the universe that hoards it for gods.
She earned it. Or maybe took it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which makes her self-made power incredibly compelling and hard-earned, not just an inherent divine trait. This portrayal, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the nature of power itself, where it comes from.
Absolutely. It challenges our easy assumptions. And that challenge extends to the core emotional engine of the novel. What we found in our sources is that it's the slow, grinding collision between immortal flesh and mortal time.
That's a great way to put it.
Imagine watching a flower pressed between tectonic plates. That's the beauty and fragility meeting this immense, unyielding force. That's really the core conflict she lives with.
And you see that tension so clearly.
Especially with her mortal lovers, yeah. With Odysseus, for example, she counts his gray hairs the way sailors count storm clouds.
Such a poignant image.
Their affair isn't just a romance. It's described as a fever chart of temporal vertigo, that dizzying sense of time we talked about, urgent and desperate precisely because, for him, the sand is running out.
Right.
Every moment carries the weight of its fleeting nature, something she, as an immortal, rarely experiences otherwise.
Which brings up that profound question. How do you truly appreciate life when it never ends?
Yeah.
What's striking in Miller's portrayal is that mortality, often seen as this limitation, right, it becomes the gift that keeps on hurting, but also fundamentally makes moments meaningful, gives them that edge of urgency.
Yeah. The hurt makes it real.
Exactly. The narrative directly challenges the assumption that immortality is inherently blissful. It reveals that it can also bring boredom, terror, and an aching hunger for change. It's a very different take on what living forever actually means, and it makes Circe's journey so much richer, I think.
That reevaluation of mortality is such a cornerstone of the book. It really is. And it leads us to a huge turning point. Circe's pregnancy with Odysseus' child, Telegonus.
A massive shift for her.
Our sources highlight this as a midpoint pivot, describing gestation itself as a kind of insurgency, a god body hijacked by mortal cells.
Hijacked, wow.
It's her body, but something entirely new and mortal is taking over, fundamentally changing her from the inside out.
And the birth scene.
Oh, yeah. Birth itself is portrayed not as some graceful miracle, but a battlefield. Her hips cracking, her screams echoing. It's raw.
Very visceral.
And then, when the Olympians threaten her infant, Circe makes a truly messy, irreversible, mortal choice. What's called her true transgression. This is where she truly breaks from her divine heritage, her family, and forges her own path.
Defending her child above all else.
Yes. And alongside this, her island, AA, also becomes this incredible character in itself throughout the book.
It really does grow with her.
Usually just a footnote on Homeric maps, right? Miller expands it into a sovereign state of one, We see Circe clearing forests, terracing gardens, even domesticating wolves.
Building her world.
Exactly. This domesticity is rendered as insurgent architecture. Every planted seed is described as a middle finger to Olympus. She's not just living there, she's actively building her own world, defining her own rules on her own terms.
So if we connect those threads, motherhood and cultivating Ea, they both represent active creation and autonomy, don't they? Especially against the backdrop of her passive, predetermined divine existence before.
Definitely.
Her choice to protect Telegonus, despite the huge divine consequences, it fundamentally redefines her character and her purpose.
It really does.
And similarly, Ea isn't just a setting, it's a manifestation of her growing self-sufficiency, her rebellion, where seasons are measured not just in sowing and reaping, but in the slow accretion of autonomy.
The slow accretion of autonomy. I like that.
It prompts us to consider, in a world of predetermined fates and overwhelming power, where does true choice and freedom actually reside?
Yeah.
And how do we cultivate it in our own lives?
That's a powerful thought to carry with us. And to achieve this depth, Miller's language itself is, well, it's truly something special.
Her prose is beautiful.
Our sources note that her sentences can stretch like Homeric catalogs, those long, detailed lists in epic poems when describing intricate divine genealogies.
Right, that epic feel.
Then snap into modern colloquialism in the very next breath. It's a stylistic tightrope walk, and she absolutely masters it.
She really does.
For example, Circe describes her father Helios' chariot with mythic hyperbole, wheels of fire, horses of molten gold, all that.
Yeah, the grand scale.
But then, when she remembers her brother's smirk, she says, very simply, he looked like every frat boy who ever lived.
Yes, that juxtaposition.
That contrast just jumps off the page, doesn't it? Pulling you between the ancient and the utterly contemporary.
And what's so effective about this temporal whiplash, as some have called it, is that it never feels gimmicky or out of place.
No, it feels earned.
It's a deliberate stylistic choice that makes the ancient marble suddenly warm to the touch. It serves to remind you that, well, power dynamics are perennial, only the costumes change.
Good point.
It makes these ancient figures and their struggles surprisingly relatable to our own experiences, even across thousands of years. It highlights the timelessness of human and, I guess, divine nature.
It's this masterful blending of the ancient and modern that allows her to ask such profound questions.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for Circe's ultimate destiny?
The ending, yeah.
The novel's deepest question, as we've explored, isn't really whether gods can change, but maybe whether they should be allowed to stay the same. It fundamentally flips the script on what we assume about divine, unchanging nature.
That's a radical question in itself.
It is, and her final, profound act. Drinking a potion to split her divinity from her mortality, choosing to age and die alongside Telegonus.
Choosing mortality.
This isn't framed as some tragic renunciation, giving something up, but rather as radical consent. Our sources powerfully suggest that eternity without exit is not bliss, but bondage.
Eternity as a prison, not a paradise.
Exactly. It's an active choice to embrace finitude, to claim her own ending.
And that scene itself.
Oh, it's written with the hush of someone removing shackles. You can almost feel the freedom in the words. I felt the centuries slide off me like silk, and what was left was skin, goose-fleshed, and hungry for time.
Wow. Goose-fleshed and hungry for time.
It's an incredibly powerful image, isn't it? Shedding that burden and embracing a new, maybe more authentic existence.
And this, to me, is the ultimate act of self-making. The ability to end a life is, paradoxically, what gives a life its true meaning and purpose.
It defines it.
Her choice to become mortal is a profound statement about the value of finitude, the power of embracing a defined existence. The ending itself, where death arrives not as a thunderbolt, but a whisper. And her final line, I stepped forward into the dark, and it was mine. It's described as both surrender and conquest. It really compels us to consider, is true freedom found in infinite power? Or is it in the finite ability to choose one's own end and purpose? What resonates most with you in that ultimate choice she makes?
I think it's the sheer agency, isn't it? The reclaiming of her narrative that resonates so deeply.
Yeah.
As we close this deep dive, it's clear Madeline Miller didn't just rewrite the Odyssey. She, as our source so brilliantly puts it, wrote its negatives.
A shadow story.
Exactly. It's the story of a woman who refused to be a footnote and chose the ache of time over the anesthesia of eternity. She truly forged her own path, creating a legacy far beyond what Homer perhaps ever imagined for her.
She certainly did.
And the book has become a real cultural touchstone, hasn't it? Inspiring everything from tattoos of Pharmacus herbs, those magic herbs she
I've
uses,
seen those.
right, to university syllabi. And it's fundamentally shifted how readers now perceive the word witch in Greek myth. It's a testament to its profound and lasting impact.
And the enduring legacy, as illuminated by our sources, is that the most radical magic isn't turning men into swine, after all,
No.
but turning oneself into a self-flawed, aging, mortal, free. It's an exorcism of myth, reminding us that true power can often lie not in invincibility, but actually in the vulnerabilities we embrace and the courageous choices we make to define our own existence.
Beautifully put. And that leaves us with a provocative thought, perhaps. If eternity without exit is truly bondage, what does that say about the profound value of the finite nature of our own lives? What choices are you making today that define your own self, that allow you to step forward into the dark, whatever that means for you, and claim it as yours?